Let's talk about the ejection. Al Horford ejected 34 seconds remaining in the second quarter of the game. Horford was assessed a flagrant 2, tossed from the game. Horford and Dellavedova got tangled on the floor while scrambling for a loose ball. And as Dellavedova was rolling on his right knee, Horford brought his right arm down hard, as you can see right there, hit his head. The official took several minutes looking at the play on a video monitor before ejecting Horford. Horford says Dellavedova went for his legs. Let's listen.
You think he's a dirty player?
He plays hard. He's a player that plays hard. You know, he's a competitor. We're out there competing. But he's got to learn. I mean, he's only been in this year for a couple of years or whatever, but he's got to learn that, you know, at the end of the day, it's a big brotherhood here. You know, guys look out for each other, and you know, I don't think that it was malicious, but he's got to learn.
I'm boxing him out. He's pulling my left arm down. I'm trying to stay up, and he's just pulling me down. So, I mean, the tape's there.
All right, Stephen A. A lot of our fans obviously are on Twitter and follow you, so we read your comments on the ejection, but explain, should Horford have been ejected?
Absolutely not. I feel adamant about that, and although I'm sure the officials, you know, try very, very hard to do a great job, and obviously they're incredibly influenced by their superiors in the NBA league office, this is a playoff game. The Atlanta Hawks are fighting for their playoff lives, and to sit there and eject Al Horford with 34.3 seconds left in the second quarter for that play was utterly ridiculous and incredibly unfair to the Atlanta Hawks organization, to that team, to Atlanta Hawks fans all over the place. You don't do that. Listen, here's the deal with Dellavedova. LeBron James is absolutely right, so is Amon Shumpert and his teammates when they sit there and say, you know, they don't believe he's a dirty player. He's not intending to hurt anybody. I truly believe that is true. But he is very reckless. Our very own Antonio Davis, NBA ESPN analyst, uttered that. Al Horford said the same thing. Various players were saying the same thing. And, of course, the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to come to the aid of their teammate, because that's what you should do. If I were his teammate, I would be saying the same thing that they're saying. But in the end, he is reckless, and he is irresponsibly reckless as far as I'm concerned. And if that upsets LeBron James, I am here to ask him to simply get over it. You are entitled to feel the way that you feel. You're the king. You're his teammates, but damn it, we're not you. That's what we're looking at. He's reckless. Now, he's from Australia. You're down there playing rugby and stuff like that. Maybe there's a different brand of ball that you're accustomed to doing. But when you saw, for example, when the Korver injury took place, Skip, usually people just might dive headfirst trying to get the ball. What they don't do is roll over the way that he did on Korver's ankle. When he went down yesterday, yes, Dellavedova is absolutely right. He was boxing out Al Horford. He was not trying to hurt him per se. But then when he got put down and he fell down on his behind, you could see his upper body unnecessarily leaning back towards Al Horford's knee, which is what prompted Al Horford to sit there and hit him with that elbow. Now, I want to give Al Horford credit, because he could have easily decided to elbow Dellavedova right upside his head, but he didn't do that. He just sat there and dropped it on him to send a message. This is something that you can't do. Of course, it warranted a flagrant foul, just not a flagrant 2. You want to give him a flagrant just to let him know, look, we're watching y'all, and you can't do something like that. And I think if you want to look out for the player and the well-being of the player, Skip, not just the player who you caught throwing the elbow, maybe you should have assessed technical fouls to both of them. That way, you're setting the stage for Dellavedova to monitor and watch what he's doing. If LeBron and everybody else wants to talk about it being a brotherhood, LeBron is right. We don't want to question the intent of Matthew Dellavedova. We don't ever want to accuse a human being of intentionally trying to hurt somebody in this respective sport unless we know for a fact that's what they're doing. But when you have limited skills, all right, and you're basically a shooter, and people look at your overall skill set. You play hard defensively. You're exceptional at denying folks the basketball on defense. You're exceptional at being an irritant, per se. If that's your MO, then these kind of things fall in line with it, which makes it appropriate to call you reckless. And when you're talking about recklessness, and you're talking about these players and their livelihoods being on the line, there's an unwritten code, Skip. you monitor and watch out for the lower extremities, because those are the kind of things that can either compromise or flat out end careers. You monitor that stuff and you make sure you don't do it. LeBron knows that. Iman Shumpert knows that. All of those players know that. And Matthew Dellavedova needs to learn that. I am not saying that he is intentionally trying to hurt anybody. That would be wrong and irresponsible. But he is excessively reckless because people give him a lot of props for him being an irritant. But he's also a strong little dude who's very physical. And sometimes that can lead to people getting hurt. And they have a right to bring attention to that. And I think considering all of those things, you don't eject Al Horford for that. You give him a flagrant run and you let him stay in the game with their playoff lives on the line. I think it was wrong to eject him.
I am so with you and then some on this one. It's been a while since I got more angry over something I saw during an NBA game as I got last night after what I saw in this game. Not only the ejection, but what caused the ejection. And let me ask you this first, Stephen A. Smith. You covered this league. I've been watching it for a long time. Has Al Horford ever been accused in any way, shape, or form of being a dirty player?
Never.
Isn't he as clean a liver as there is in the league, as good a guy? So, to me, the referee crew has to take that into account, keep that in some perspective, because I did not see him throw his elbow down at Delly's little head. I saw him just crash down on him just to send a message. And that play on Kyle Korver, Stephen A., the more I look at it, and this was my first reaction when I saw it, it was so reckless, it was flat out dangerous, because you don't see that happen very often. And Kenny Smith talked on TNT last night about the brotherhood that is the NBA. You just know there's an unwritten rule. You protect each other when push comes to shove. And he did not protect a Kyle Korver who had his right leg planted. And obviously he goes crashing into it, and now Damari Carroll says that Kyle Korver's going to need ankle surgery. We're not sure about that.
When I listened to LeBron come to his defense, LeBron was right from a literal perspective. He believes in his teammate. He believes he knows where his teammate's heart lies. But where I disagree with LeBron is that what if it was your opponent that was doing that? What would you be saying? I see guys going at LeBron all the time, but what they do is they hack him. Very rare in the day do you see LeBron getting hit in his lower extremities.
He doesn't.
I'm talking about where guys are diving for stuff, going towards the knee or the ankle.
Yeah.
LeBron knows good and damn well that if he had an opponent that was doing that to him, he might lose it. When you talk about the knees and you talk about the ankles, look, man, you don't have to have rules in place. It's an unwritten code. Just like he said, it's a brotherhood.
Yeah.
Matthew Dellavedova, just because he's a part of the NBA doesn't make him a part of the brotherhood. Being a part of a brotherhood is also being like-minded. It's understanding that you think alike and that you have the same sensibilities and the same sensitivities to certain situations. You don't lose sight of that. And that's what this guy is doing. Can we definitively say Atlanta loses this game last night if Al Horford is in that for the second half? I mean, it's just, I don't like it. I don't like it. It wasn't fair.
Up to that point, Al Horford had made 7 out of 10 shots already.
Yeah, 14
points in the first half?
14 points, 14 rebounds at that moment. Okay, gentlemen, again, the game tomorrow, TNT, 8:30 Eastern. And we